contributed a lot. We can say like the institutions that we live in our society contributed. Because when you look at that, with the idea of marriage, a woman has to leave her own house and go to the man's house and become one with men. And the system of patriarchy takes that as if like now the man owns a woman. A woman is the property of a man. So a man has to protect women. And that's why women do not even have a right to vote. If you look at the franchise, how the feminist movement came about in fighting for the right to vote for women, the argument or the rhetoric that was there is because women couldn't vote since men are already voting on their behalf. So if your husband is voting, so you are fine as a woman, you don't need to, because you are one with men and the man owns you, you are a man's property. So just to add that, like, some of our practices in our society, in our institution, add reinforcing and extending patriarchy.
And also to add to that is that simple things like, things like Mr. and Mrs., things like names. When you get married, you take your husband's name, right? Surname. When you have a child, it's those simple things. Your child takes upon.
Yeah. I think there's also the scientific base somewhere. I haven't fully explored it, but Oshadi Mangena talks about it in from a scientific perspective, genetically, and she wrote her piece on feminism and black consciousness, and she addresses that. And I haven't fully come to terms with that. But yeah, you have to misread her article.
Sorry, okay. I don't have any proof to this, but it's a saying where we come from that in the formation of men and women, men has 9 bones, then 7 belongs to ladies. It shows that from the arithmetics, 9 is greater than 7. So it could be from that. I don't know where the source came from, but they used to tell us when we were young that men are stronger and the way God has formed men. I think those can be linked to it. Yes, so you see that's why men are bully and muscles. So when you are going with your sister, you must protect that girl. I think.
All right, Liberty, before we end the person, you want to
a quick follow-up. It's not even a question. I think where this question comes from is from an understanding you have to possess power in order to be able to you understand. And if we say then patriarchy is male domination, you can't dominate unless you have the power. And I'm like, where is the black man in the scale of power? Yeah, I understand. I don't see him there. Maybe if he is very vividly, and then can we then say lo muntu lo is completely in possession and dominance of the other? Because I mean, for me, he's more or less a victim as I am. You know what I'm trying? I don't know if there's another term, but lately I've been interrogating this thing of patriarchy and black men. To what extent? How? But yeah.
Maybe sorry, I mean, how to this? Maybe you're talking about power in definition wise. I want to know your own definition of power in this category, right? Because power in asymmetric use of power of resources that man has, it could be of different dimension. It could be economic, it could be political, it could be cultural, religious. It could be age-wise. And this power we're talking about is inherent in man. Like Prof said, from the Adam and Eve creation, right? It has been there. The Adam was created before Eve, and Eve happened to be created from the side bone of Adam, right? So it is inherent in man to be domineering. Now, we also say power. In this contemporary term of power, we have to define what power really means. So, black man does has his own power, depending on the kind of power we're talking about. Irrespective of the person, or background, age, culture, religion, race, and what have you, black man has his power, or whatever man anywhere as God is some power.
Some form of power, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Liberty, so that we can go ahead, then I'll come back to you, Tembi.
Just a note. Well, when you're asking if we do have time to communicate with, if we go to shops, we can communicate with them the way that we don't really have time to do that, because actually themselves they are waiting for cards to decline so that they can, scream that card declined. So we don't have time to communicate. Also,
But you have time, because you look at the label and say, how come you, when is your name? I'd like to say hi to you. I don't know how to address you.
they are waiting for
They
cards to
will
decline.
break immediately.
Also-
Or even in the line, somebody's standing in front of you, somebody's standing in the back of you. Hi, did you have a good day?
Hey,
We've lost that culture. We had that culture. You know that. We could scream across when we used to say hi to each other. We would talk in the buses. But we don't do that anymore.
If you do that, you become civilized.
We're carrying problems out there. Another thing I wanted to add that, especially on campus, you see, we would like to believe that when we come to university, we use them as institutions of change, right? Where we should be enlightened, especially with these things. But it can, if our college, if we look at it like narrow, deeply, there is division. Because when I hear what you're talking about, back then there was no division between the students. You had one thing that united you, of which you got, let's say, the fight for freedom. If you go to our college, there are areas that you say, these are areas for black students. These are areas that Indian students share. You see? So those things, they actually, the caves, as she's saying, there are mainly two caves. There's one that is known like by black cave. Then there's one that is known that by white cave. If you go to science block, it's mainly dominated by Indian students. You see, a black will buy and they leave. But where the student sits is mainly dominated by the Indian student. So I'm just saying from here what you are saying, you had unit back then. Now there is that divide. And even if we're meeting on corridors, I'm sorry to say this, but especially my experience is I'm meeting an Indian student, and I would like to say hi, but most of them are my students. There is this smile that they give me, and when I'm approaching, I want to say hi, how it quickly disappears, and she passes. So now I don't know whether what was that. What was that smile? Was it fear? Like, was that student scared of me, or is it? Because I had to ask some students that why do you do that? Then most of them say that it's kind of like a self-defensive mechanism. Yeah. Because if I smile, then I tend to be friendly, and we fear this being attacked. But on campus, they say, well, attacks happen on campus.
Black people. They don't do that to white people.
No, they do that. Yes, black people. So it's some of those things that imagine they happen at an university where we're saying they are enlightened people that are going to. Now imagine we take it outside. Hence the question back, I think Uba asked about the tension that I said to be in Durban between blacks and, just imagine normal people, like a taxi driver, and somebody. And it's happening between students, that shares classes. So those are some of the things that we are continuously facing, of which we have normalized them actually. We've come to a point where we have normalized them. You see that smile, you just say, okay, you pass. We see those demarcations, not that somebody determined. No. They just happen. There are certain modules that know there are more Indians than blacks. There are more blacks than Indians. You go to science block, it's more Indians there. But you come to sociology, it's more of us. So as blacks, sorry. So it's all those, that they continue manifesting in the society.
Try saying hi and see what happens.
I mean, another thing, I'm so sorry. I think it has to do with the brokenness of the society, of our spirit, and the brokenness of the violence of our society. I will not exaggerate because I did not live the past 30 years. I wasn't there to know the experiences directly, but I know that the aggression of our society currently, it rips our spirit apart. We don't have Like, bruh, where do you take the energy to smile at somebody? Because you're like, I'm so troubled, I'm so lost. Politics of identity. You feel like you're literally existing. You're not living, but you're existing. I think that is what accelerates even the extreme behavior that we engage in as young people of this generation. It's a cry to want to feel something and to want to live, because we're merely existing and not living. I would not know what to award it to, or what to award that to. But I feel like, see, Silimele, if I will put it in this cause, Silimele, we don't have, if you have those headsets on, it's not because you enjoy that music, but it's just a mechanism of saying, no one around me, let people just stay away. I don't want to speak to anyone. I don't want anyone to think that I'm attending to them, because me, it takes away from you even doing that. It takes a lot of energy from you, because there is no energy value in you. I don't know if it's the institution, particularly on campus. Yeah, brother, that institution is aggressive. You don't know if it's the setup, but there's something wrong with how our institutions are. And it messes up with our mind, it messes up with our spirit. It's evident in our interactions.
Even in the library, main library, the fourth floor is not that in the floor. You don't see black students sitting fourth floor, like the main library. So some of those things.
So maybe, Gabella, this smile, this greeting, our spirit is not
sync with the mind.
It's very few people where you'd feel like, hey, yes, my spirit, Gabella, my spirit agrees. Apart from that, there is fiction, there's war, there's struggle between Abantu, the energy that surrounds us. So I don't know. I don't want to say this spaces, these times are worse. But I think that's why the level of suicide, the levels of depression, the level of anxiety that we're experiencing now, it's evidence that there's a struggle internally that we were battling with. Yeah,
I think it goes back to that we are mainly on our phone. So where do I get time to express myself talking to you when you're on your phone? I see you with your earphones, you are just there. And I want to talk, but I also fear disturbing you. So I end up, confining this to myself.
Approach the person. I think it's about sucking up that fear, and actually approaching an individual and be like tapping her on the shoulder and be like, hi. Because in order for you to get a person's attention, you tap them on the shoulder, right? And then you have their attention, and then you can talk. It's all about engagement. And
but the issue of talking now, we especially in academic environment, people would take so much on their shoulders, like especially academic stuff. They are already stressed. So the minute I tap on your shoulder, hi, she's holding an earphone in her hand. Now I'm scared that I'm actually disturbing her because she's having her earphone in her hand. So now I need to talk to her, like really, really need the attention. And she cannot. It now takes her side to see if this really person needs my attention. You get what I'm saying? Of which, because of our busy schedules and also we've got family issues, we've got a lot of issues on our shoulders. Now, giving that time, that person the time from her side as the recipient, that's another problem.
I think so, though I didn't intend to say anything on this issue, but I had it in mind. We have realized even in our society here, I want to believe it's because of the history or the way we are set up. Because I will compare with where I come from. I've seen my students, even a lot of students, say Indians are always together and the blacks are together. The buttress of points, when you see them coming, they just smile. Before you say anything, you are not greeting them, you are not anything, you just and for me, I'm okay, I just pass. So normalize it. But I don't know what happened there. But issue of we have so much tax on our head, we don't want to be talked to anybody. No. I'm sorry to use Nigeria as a case study. We don't have any fear of anybody. Maybe because of our history or so, because it's not a multiracial country. So this love is there. And I don't have any fear of Kabiru or Lekon, because I know even at the dark, we don't even use earphone that people use here. As a matter of fact, we want to play with ourselves. And just now, recently, people are cautioning me that don't play too much with people, that people have their own problem. I want to make you happy, but here, there's so much stress for many things. That's a problem I think I want to relate. Then also in the history of South Africa, why Indians are always together and blacks are separated from each other. We give an assignment in class, for instance, presentations, you see them, the names. When you put one Indian and a black, you say, excuse me, sir, I don't want to be in that line. Please take me out. Yes, I experience it. I don't want to begin to ask questions about why do you want to do it. I just get to do what I want. So I think it is basically what has happened to the country itself is still there. And the issue of segregation, apartheid is really entrenched in South Africa, even though we said there's no more apartheid. You get the point? This issue of white, black, Indian and stuff, everybody now creates environment for themselves. And if it has been like that, then I should create a place for myself to make my life the way I want to be. That's the way I just say it. But except now you are saying we need to begin to bring back African consciousness. What we do today is not Africanism again, because we have borrowed from the West and we now do individualism. Africa, we are used to together, way together, communalism, but we don't do that again. So if you accept to go back to where we have come from, I don't think we have started. We have to go back to where we were before to begin to write things that is wrong here. That is my own assumption of my conclusions.
Timmy?
Thank you, Ma, for the information and the teaching. Also, I want to thank my supervisor for this opportunity. Though I think she has asked my question and I'm fine with that, but I think I need a clarification on an issue bothering me. It happened, one of my participants was in the hospital over the weekend and she was being attended to by an Indian lady. And there's this question, the first thing I saw downstairs said, why are you here? The Indian lady was asking her, why are you here? You're a foreigner. You should go back to your country. So my question, I felt it myself and I knew she also felt it, but our baby was seriously sick, and you know, this question to a researcher, a doctor, she's not here to beg, she's only here to for studies and other things. So I want to know, with what I've seen around here anyway, it has answered the question, but I still want to ask from you, an Indian lady, and South African Indian, is it really right, the way she puts the question that, why are you here, to another nationality, it's really right to put a question like that to her? Because that was the first question. So I just remembered, why are you here? I saw the same question downstairs as we come. So I want to know, did you really get what I really want to know? A South African Indian. I'm saying another nationality.
Did you see it as a racial question? Did you see it as a what question? How did you feel? Did you feel, oh, because where was your perspective, and how did you then?
Yeah.
How did you see her
Discriminated, and you were talking about discrimination now. So I don't know if you can just put some light, because I'm in total darkness.
So I'm going to ask you the question, why are you here?
I'm here to study.
Okay. So why do you think, I'm going to go with the why question. So why do you think she asked that question? Why do you think she asked that question?
I think this is, if I was...
Wasn't the question, did you say that the question was followed by, you should go back to your country?
Yeah.
Oh, did she say that?
Yeah, she did.
She said, go back to your country.
interpreting
You're
for her?
a foreigner. No, that's what she said.
You said
You're a foreigner. So my question was, how would an Indian South African calling another nationality a foreigner? I'm working on migration, and I know you, Indian, you also migrated here to South Africa. You understand? So I'm thinking she's not supposed to use that language, that you're a foreigner. You're a foreigner, go back to your country.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean,
So I want to
an unjust statement.
Yes.
Hey,
That's the
you
hate
should
speech.
stand up. You have the right to be where you choose to be. And the same question could be asked, so why are you here?
Yes.
You know, but you will not give an answer from a prejudicial point. You must go back to your country, because I'm sure many people will look at me and say, you don't belong to South Africa, you must go back to your country. I mean, that is a level of xenophobia that has come through and has permeated this question of possession. Of, I belong, you don't. We don't understand that we all belong. We don't understand, we've lost that. And obviously, no justification, but the manner in which we've been divided socially, economically, politically, and this whole thing about superiority, I am better than you. What makes you think that you can be here? This is not your land of birth. So what is our land of birth? How do we see where we come from? So the same thing should apply to her. You should engage, but you have to engage her, must stop her and engage her there and then. I'd like to understand why you're asking me such a question.
And again, maybe to speak to what I think that's what they were expressing here, Sane, Liberty, kind of, yeah, all of them. When they were talking about, like, you know, feeling, I don't know whether I can call it isolation, but going through things. So Alice Walker wrote about the scars of the past. It's not like the scars that bleeds, that has the physical, like, you know, flow of blood, but it's the internalized scars. So what I will understand, like, some of the things that are happening today is that you find that South Africans, most of them, whether Indian or black or white, have gone through so many scars. And now they have these scars internalized, that sometimes they come out in a way that is not proper. And then they take it out on people that they're not supposed to take it to. That, like, you know, because they've internalized this anger. Even with violence in our country, especially gender-based violence, we have these internalized issues that we haven't have spaces of taking them out freely and heal from them. Democracy in South Africa painted this picture that everything in South Africa is okay. Everyone has moved on. And there is nothing more, no problem, no issues. Yet there are so many issues that are internalized. So is that is going on to add on xenophobia, and then also, like, you know, adding on all other, like, you know, kinds, because that was like very violent and that was, like, you know, so uncalled for. However, it comes from a different place.
And you start colluding with your own oppression.
Right.
You become your own oppressor.
Right.
And you play that role, and it's a significant role in terms of your own life.
Yeah.
Because again, it comes back to, I can have power over you.
Yeah. And
so it's that cycle of collusion.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Talks
about, like, how the oppressed
Pedagogy of the
can
oppressed.
further, you know, his or her own oppression. That in like, you know, we are oppressed as the people, but sometimes we contribute to our own oppression in different forms. Not to say that we perpetuate our oppression, but we need to evaluate sometimes how do we contribute to, like, you know, furthering and extending our own oppression as humans, not as, like, you know, people of different identities. Because we're caught up in these identities.
Politics of identity, they confine us.
We are so caught up in different identities, and we end up marking ourselves and marking others based on those identities.
Absolutely.
Social problem has become a social problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even in the institution wise, it does happen. Yeah. The police will stop you because they identify you as a foreigner. Right? It's everywhere. Another South African will address you because as a foreigner saying I'm a Kurikwiri. So it's cut across.
Yeah, you have become a criminalized.
Yes, everywhere. It's cut across. It's not just. particularly about a particular race or this, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I was thinking if it's a South African, a black South African that said so, I wouldn't have found any fault in it. But an Indian South African.
You now know. You now know. It's everywhere.
But now we've had
it's
history,
as a
like,
human.
you know, and that's
That's what I'm saying.
Don't be
it's so
surprised.
important to understand our history.
Yeah.
It's so important to be informed and educated and see history in its context.
Yeah.
And also the issue of xenophobia now is permeating in Europe.
Yeah.
It's vibrant in Europe at the moment, you
Yeah.
know, and it's also affecting political alignments, affiliation, the emergence of new parties, right-wing parties, etc.
Yeah.
So it's also affected the political landscape of Europe as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you so much, Sam, for this wonderful, wonderful account and of your experiences of BC. And thank you to our students for raising such important, interesting questions and for your contributions. And we really appreciate it. On behalf of myself, from Gabby, the Department of History and Gender Studies and UKZN and our students, we just want to say thank you so much for you being here today. We really appreciate it. I know I was educated today, this morning, so much more than I knew about BC.
Yeah.
So thank
You
you.
guys, I love the way you talk to each other. Just carry on talking. You don't have to wait for to meet on the corridor or to say something, but talk to each other. You have to force the talk.
And thank you. Okay, what is going to happen now?
Come for group photo, please.
Can you listen a little bit?
People didn't do that.
Can you listen a little bit?